The one where Joey moves out is such a heartbreaking episode of Friends. It's a really good episode, but emotional. This is the 16th episode of the second season, directed by Michael Lembeck. And I think everything I have to say will contain spoilers, so I'll just say spoilers from this point on. And obviously, the main narrative focuses on Joey moving out. And there are two reasons why this kind of happens. The first is that because he licked and he put with the spoon, and there's a little bit of tension between Joey and Chandler. That's really short lived, but then they're at a party of a friend of Joey's, or a colleague of Joey's, and it turns out that that colleague is actually moving out of his apartment and asks if Joey wants it. And Joey, now working with regular employment, has a bit of money, kind of sees himself living on his own, and, well, as the title suggests, he takes up the opportunity. And Chandler is not exactly pleased about this because his best friend is moving out, and it's heartbreaking. But there is some tension continuing, such as with the foosball table. I think the way everything was handled, though, by Joey was really good. But the bit that I loved the most was the hug. The hug when Joey moves out is just one of the most beautiful, iconic moments of Friends, and I absolutely love it. I know what happens with Joey moving out. Going forward, I know, but I've obviously seen Friends many times. But even with that in mind, it's still so emotional, and it feels like the end of an era, and it's beautifully, beautifully done. We have various other things happening as well. For example, we have the tattoos. Rachel and Phoebe decide to go and get tattoos, and Ross is not happy about it. He doesn't know Rachel's getting one, he just knows that Phoebe is getting a lily to represent her mother. And I feel like that part of the narrative was quite interesting. I don't think it ever comes up again. I don't know if we would ever have a reason for it to come up again, but certainly it was nice enough. It's not my favourite subplot, but I think it unfolded quite well. And we got a lot of comedy from Phoebe, which is nice because for the last few episodes, Phoebe's kind of taken a bit of a back seat. And I guess that was because a lot of the episodes leading up to that were about her and her father and various other things. So it's nice to have Phoebe driving some of the comedy again. And the third part of the narrative, and a bit that I think was beautifully played out, is with Monica and Richard, and they're at Jack and Judy's house for Jack's birthday, and there's a rumour going around that Richard rather, has a Twinkie in the city. And Monica overhears all of this gossip about Richard's new young girlfriend, and the bathroom scene I thought was brilliantly done, and the bit just before the cake is brought out and they sing happy birthday, I thought it was brilliant, beautifully executed, really helps to move that part of the narrative forward in a way that's very funny, but also quite thought-provoking, because I imagine that this is not completely an uncommon situation where somebody dates somebody older who they met as a family friend, and I feel like Jack and Judy's response was predictable. It may not be the best way to respond, but I feel like it was very believable, and I just enjoyed watching that play out because I thought it was a really nice blend of comedy and reality, and a display of real varying and conflicting emotions. Because of course they want Monica to be happy, but do they want her to date somebody who used to know her when she was a little girl and he was a fully grown man? Not so much. So I thought it was very well done. Really enjoyed this episode. Obviously, the main takeaway is that Chandler and Joey are meant to be together, and if we see them being separated, it's just absolutely heartbreaking. Not that I blame Joey for moving out, getting his independence, living his life. That's a good thing. It really is. But not without heartache. Needless to say, the one where Joey moves out is a pretty iconic episode, and one that's enjoyable for all the right reasons.